folks, welcome to Sonofdel's life vlog on this Sunday the 29th of January. Only a couple of days left and that's another month gone. Coming up on my vlog tonight, I've got a lot of jigsaws because I've been doing quite a few, and already, even though it's only January, I've already done 6 1,000 piece jigsaws. Some of them are coming up in a minute. I've also got a book review series of 4 books which I've read, and it's one set of books by James Patterson and Candice Fox, and they are the Harriet Blue books. Them are coming up as well. A couple of things what I bought in the last couple of weeks, and also just telling you what we've been up to since I last did a vlog. Coming up first anyway, I'm going to do my jigsaw gallery first today. So my jigsaw gallery now. So as you can see, I've been busy with the old jigsaws. I've got another one on the go at the moment, a Chiaro Marchetti one. That's a 1,000-piece, and it's a panoramic one. I don't know what's up in my mouth today. Panoramic one, and that's on the table at the moment. And when I finish that one, I'll film that one as well. What have we been up to? Well, to be honest with you, it's been quite quiet because the weather hasn't been brilliant, and also what happened on the 4th of January, we lost a really, really good friend of ours, and it's not been the same, to be honest with you. Everybody's been a bit low-key and a bit mellow and, you know, a bit melancholy, really, remembering the good times that we spent with him and all that sort of stuff. But we have been watching a bit of TV, me and Deb have. We're on Supernatural season 12 now. We've watched season 11. Season 11 was really good. This 12, it seems like a bit of a filler season. I don't know whether it's because we've watched that many of them now, but they seem quite samey in parts. One of them gets killed. You think he's going to get killed. The other one saves him. The next episode, he goes for get killed. The other one saves him, and so on and so forth. So it's getting a bit samey. Other than that, I haven't been watching a lot of TV. I have been reading a hell of a lot. I've read 7 books this year so far, and that's since the start of January. So in 28 days, I'm reading a book about every 4 days, and that includes 3 biographies. So yeah, I did do one really, really stupid thing actually. I've got to tell you about this, even though I'll make myself look a right numpty. But what I did was I collect these books called the Tom Thorne books, and they're on 19 in the set, and I knew I'd got 16 of them, and I was waiting on 3. So I went online and I checked that the newest one I actually ordered on the 8th of November. So me and my wife then start tipping the house upside down because we can't find this book, and it must have been delivered by now. So anyway, we're tipping everything upside down, looking in drawers, in cupboards, under cupboards, we're looking everywhere. After about an hour and a half, I suddenly had this really, really strange feeling, and when I went onto Amazon and clicked on it, it was a pre-order and it didn't come out till the 19th of January, and this was on about the 12th of January, so we were looking all over the house for a book that hadn't actually been released. Anyway, nice to say that it has come now, and I've got the other 2 that I was missing as well, so I've got all 19 of the Tom Thorne novels by Mark Billingham. Now, you might think that's a lot of books to read from one thing, but I read one book by accident called Lifeless. And I don't mean by accident as in I accidentally read it. What I meant is my wife was buying some books off the works. I think I might have mentioned this in one of my other vlogs, and they were 3 for £6, and she could only find 5, and obviously it would have been 6 for £10. So I found one, and it just said Mark Billingham, Lifeless, and it sounded really good about these bodies that are found in London with £20 notes pinned to the chests, and I just thought, oh, this sounds pretty cool. You know, I like me dark, gritty English thrillers, like, so because I'm a big fan of Ian Rankin, the Rebus novels, but I'll tell you more about that in a bit. So yeah, I got into him that way, only to find out that I was reading book 5, and I didn't realise. So I've gone and got them all now. I've got them all in paperback, and I'm going to be reading them all, and I'll be doing reviews for them, because that's what I love doing, to be honest. I like reading a book and then giving people a review of it. I'm a member of a thing called Goodreads. Now, if you're a reader and you've never heard of Goodreads, go on to goodreads.com. What you basically do, you go on there and you leave book reviews for people, but you can also put a list of what you're reading, what you want to read. You can give it star ratings, you can look at other people's ratings, you can recommend books to people. It's really, really good. It's a fantastic thing, and it's called Goodreads. And I think I've read so far 97 books, I think, out of 100 that I wanted to. So I'm doing okay on there. And these 4 books, what I read this month, the Harriet Blue Quadrilogy, I'll be doing a review for in a minute. I've actually read all 4 of them since about the 20th. Yeah, about the 20th or the 19th. So I've read them all in the space of about 10 days, 11 days maybe. Because they're really good, and like I say, I'm doing a review for them in a minute. But other than that, it's been nice and quiet. Obviously the month of January is usually quite quiet anyway. It's pretty boring. I've not really dealt with many companies or anything like that. I did have a little bit of a misunderstanding with a company, but I've managed to sort it out now. So yeah, hopefully all goes well. Health-wise, not too bad at all. A lot of people I know have been sick and ill, and they've come down with flus and viruses and bugs and all sorts. In fact, my mother-in-law at the moment, she's not too well. She's got a really bad chest infection, so I'm hoping she recovers really, really quickly. She went back on the 8th, which obviously, you know, from when I did my last vlog, I actually stated that I was doing it, and Mum was on the way back home. She lives in the other side of the country to us. We live on the west coast, she lives on the east coast. But yeah, Deb's been alright as well. She's been doing a hell of a lot of reading as well. Between us, I think we've done 14 books this month between us. So yeah, we're enjoying our reading. And one thing I wanted to mention actually was something I saw the other day, which I can't believe in this day and age this happened. Apparently in America, some guy who owns a bakery refused to serve a gay man because it was against his beliefs. And this was upheld in court. This was upheld in a court in America, and it was all went through. But he's now been told he's got to serve a transsexual. And he doesn't want to. Now, I know, yes, you've got your religious beliefs, you know what you believe in, blah, blah, blah. But this is somebody going in to buy a cake. They're going in to buy something from a bakery, a loaf of bread or something. Does it really, really matter what their sexuality is? Seriously. I mean, could you imagine if every time you went into Tesco or Asda, they said to you, excuse me, can you please tell me your sexuality? I need to know, because if you're a certain sexuality, you can't come in here. Could you imagine the uproar and the horror that would be running through? And on that same note, something Deb told me about the other day. There's this actress, I can't remember her name now, it slipped my mind, but she is really, really against transsexuals, really against them. She doesn't like them at all. She doesn't like the belief in them or nothing. And an actor who's gay has actually cast her in a role where she's playing somebody who hates transsexuals, and there's been uproar in the acting community because they've said, hang on a minute, if they did a documentary about the Taliban beheading people, and they actually said, well, we've got a Taliban member starring in it, he's going to be starring as the one who beheads people, people would go absolutely mental. They would have an absolute fit. But this actress is playing the part on stage, and it's come under so much criticism, and I can understand why. I remember a while ago an actor that I really, really used to like called Mel Gibson, and it came out that he was really, really anti-Jew. He was giving it loads at this party where he was drunk. He was giving it all the Zeke Isles and all this sort of stuff, and apparently it really did harm his career, because how many things have you seen him in the last, 10, 15 years since he was found to be like that? He hasn't been in many, has he, really? No big blockbusters, shall we say. But I just don't understand in this day and age why we can't just accept people for who they are. There was a thing in my own country, actually, in England, England, Scotland, and what it was about this man who, when he was a man, he raped 2 women, and when it got to court, he was already identifying as a woman and dressing as a woman and identifying as a woman, and there was a bit of a controversy because when he got sentenced for the 2 rapes, he was put at first in a women's prison. But he's still got everything a man's got. So there was a real mess up and a half, I'll tell you. But now, luckily, I think he's been sent to a man's prison because he is still a man, technically. And his girlfriend has actually come forward, his wife or woman or whatever, has come forward and said he never even used to hint that he wanted to be a woman until he was arrested for rape. He must have seen it as like a get-out clause, you know. If I identify as a woman, they'll go lenient on me. No, mate, no, I'm sorry. And it gives a bad name to transsexuals, because I do understand. I'm not one of these people who will judge somebody. If they're born a man and they identify as a woman, then that's up to them. That's how they identify, you know. If they're not happy in their own body as the sex they were born, then fair enough. I can understand them saying, I want to be something different and I feel like I'm something different. Then great stuff, no problem. But you're always going to get those that are going to use it. They're going to use it for their own benefits, and that's what's going to give them a bad name. You know, it is going to give them a bad name. I remember not so long ago there was a story in America about a woman, a drag queen, and somebody had said that letting a drag queen read your children's stories in a library is like giving them a paedophile. And I just thought that was very, very, very horrible and wrong, because you're telling me that you think every person who dresses in drag as a proper drag queen is a paedophile. Now, I'm sorry, but That's absolutely ridiculously disgusting. That's like saying every man who turns 18 is going to go out and rape a woman because he's a man. It's wrong, honestly, on so many levels. And when I read this story, I couldn't believe it. I could not actually believe that this person believed that a drag queen was the same as a paedophile. I just could not get my head around that. Now, I grew up in the 70s, and there was a couple of really, really famous men who dressed as women. Now, one was even further back than that, and he was called Danny LaRue. And the other one was a guy called Dick Emery, and he used to dress up as women for comedy. You know, and it was comedy because he used to do some right funny characters. People like Kenny Everett, he used to dress up as women as well, you know. So did the two Ronnies. You know, they would literally dress up in drag with the women's gear and everything. And nobody accused them of being a paedophile because people just accepted it for what it was. It was a comedy thing. Nowadays, it's a business. I mean, the drag business is massive. My wife, she absolutely loves RuPaul's Drag Race. And of course, RuPaul, as everybody knows, you know, he's a absolute top drag artist. You know, he's been going for absolutely years. He's in his, what, I think he must be in his 70s now. And he is still going strong. He's still going. And he's been like that for absolutely years. And yet, people will come along and say that, you know, the equivalent of a drag queen is a paedophile. And I just think that's evil. I think that's absolutely disgusting, to be honest with you. It really got to me, that did, when I read the story. I just thought, wow. That's how you look at the world, is it? That's how you see it. It's black and white, just like that. Every drag queen is a paedophile. Nah, evil. I think they're worse than the people who they're accusing, actually. Because obviously a lot of people nowadays, they're dead opinionated, aren't they? You hear them, this person's this person's this. If I was this person, I wouldn't do this. And it's kind of thing, 3 words, I can't stand. 4 words I can't stand. If I were you. Because if you get them in a sentence, somebody is basically saying, do this. Do this. Now, when they say, if I were you, I'd, you're not me. You're not the other person you're talking to. That person can make up their own mind. And the more you say, if I were you, the more they're just going to go, hang on, you're not me. And when you wake up and realise that, that's when you start suddenly thinking, hang on, that person's trying to control me. If I were you. You know, I hate them words, if I were you. Because I mean, we're adults. If you're an adult, you know how to deal with situations, or you've got an idea of how to deal with situations. And when you deal with them, and you think you've done a really good job of it, and somebody says, oh no, but if I were you, what I'd have done is, it makes you sort of look as if you're like still at school. And there's a teacher leaning down on you, saying, you know, that handwriting's wrong. If I were you, I'd do such and such. Doesn't work like that. Sorry, it doesn't. Anyway, coming up, now I've rattled your head off, my book reviews for the James Patterson and Candice Fox quadrilogy of the Harriet Blue thrillers. Right, folks, here we go. Now, the first book in the series is called Never Never. As you can see, Never Never. And what it basically is right at the very, very start of it, I couldn't believe the first couple of pages, you find out that Harriet Blue, who's the detective in it, her brother has just been arrested for murder of 3 women, murder and rape of 3 women. And that's how it starts. And I thought, wow, that's straight into the action, straight dark and gritty. You want to know what's going on. Anyway, for her safety, she gets shipped out to the back end of nowhere, into this like a uranium mine. Now bear in mind, all these are set in Australia, by the way. They're all Australian. And she gets sent to this uranium mine where people keep going missing. And while she's there, obviously all these different unsavoury characters cross her path, and she's not the kind of police person who does everything by the book, just let me tell you that. She works originally for the sex crime division. And if she can't get somebody, even though she knows they're guilty and they get off in court, they have a habit of getting beaten up a few days later by a mysterious assailant. Let's just say that. And Harriet Blue is not the kind of woman you would want to mess with. You know, she's a detective, but she is way beyond a detective. She really is. Anyway, she has to decide who's doing all the killing, what's going on, why they're doing it, are these people dead, missing, or have they run off? Anyway, it's a fantastic book. Really is. The first one, I gave it 4 stars, so that's Never Never. Now the sequel to it is called Liar Liar. Oh, sorry, no it isn't. I've got it back to front. I do apologise. No, I haven't. Hang on. Have I gone mad here? Sorry, I have gone mad. Just ignore me, I've read that many books. The second book is called 50-50. Now, in it, a brother who's been accused of all these murders is standing trial. And she believes he's innocent. But because she punches out a lawyer guy on the steps of the courthouse, she gets sent to the back end of nowhere, where a diary's been found. A diary detailing the wipeout of a town of all these people. All the details are there about how it's going to happen, who it's going to happen to. There's excerpts from different killers' diaries in there, what this person's written down. And she's got to uncover what's going on in this tiny, tiny place where the population's only 75. So she's got to try and figure out who, why, what, when, and what's going on, and who the person is who's threatening to blow up the town. Is it a hoax? Is it not a hoax? And that one I gave 4 out of 5. And that's called 50-50. That's the second book. The third one is called Liar Liar. Now in this one you find out who, this is a spoiler, so if you don't want to hear this, don't listen to this bit where I'm coming up with spoiler alert. You find out that a brother wasn't the killer, and that the killer is a guy called Regan Banks, and he is an absolute psychopath. But Harriet has now gone undercover. Literally, she has gone rogue from the police force. The police want her, they want to bring her in, and she's going after this guy for what he's done to her, because now her brother has committed suicide. You find that out at the end of the second book. He's committed suicide. In this one, she goes after him, but he also wants her. And what he does, he sends all these cryptic messages to her, detailing all the different things in her life, what have made her who she is, and he's going to strip them all away till she's got nothing left to love, nothing left to admire, or nothing. So it's a kind of a cat and mouse all the way through to try and figure out who's going to get who, why, what, when. There's a few plot twists in there. She's got this sidekick called Edward Whittaker, who she met in the first book. She didn't meet him till the first book, and he's now moved over to where she does all the policing, and he's basically her sidekick. So that's what that one's about. That's the third book. Now in the fourth book, again, spoiler alert, it's called Hush Hush. And in this book, it starts with Harriet in jail because she's been charged with killing Regan Banks, but she's also been charged with assaulting police officers, breaking and entering and everything. She did loads of stuff in order to get to this killer that was definitely outside the law. And she got put in prison by this guy called Commissioner Woods, who absolutely hates her. But while she's in prison, at the start of the book, a doctor in there, a female doctor, gets knifed and gets killed. She gets killed. And her friend, who she's in the cell with, basically gets accused of it. Now, at the same time, this Commissioner Woods, who's had her put in prison, comes asking for her help because his daughter and his granddaughter have gone missing. And he wants her to help him find them. But he keeps holding over her that if she doesn't find them, he'll put her back in prison where she belongs. So again, it's another one of these sort of things where she comes out to help him, but she's also got her own motives because she wants to find out who killed this doctor and why. And it's again another fantastic paced thriller. And it says there, James Patterson and Candice Fox. She also co-wrote them with him. And they're a fantastic set of books, and every one of them I've given 4 out of 5 on Goodreads. If you ever get a chance and you want to read a decent set of 4 thrillers, read them. So they are called, the first one, Never Never. The second one, 50-50. The third one, Liar Liar. And the fourth one, Hush Hush. And you can get them from any of the bookstores. You can get them from Amazon. I think I got a couple off the works. And I've never read James Patterson before, but I would definitely give him a high rating for thrillers. So the 4 books I would give 4 out of 5, and they are the Harriet, Harry Blue Quadrilogy by James Patterson and Candice Fox. Now, just before I finish, I'll just tell you a couple of things I bought. Right, the first thing I bought was, I had a thing called Maxi Miles, where you build up points and then you convert them into Blu-rays, DVDs, whatever you want really. And I bought the new Top Gun film, Maverick. But we hadn't got the first Top Gun on Blu-ray. So I went on Amazon, excuse me, and I had an Amazon voucher and I managed to get the first one. And it's the special collector's edition, whatever that means. And obviously the first film is absolutely yonks old now, but it's still a classic. It's got a brilliant soundtrack, it's got a fantastic film, brilliant cast and everything. So I bought that to go with the Maverick, basically for my wife. I bought it for my wife because the two go together. Now, the last thing I bought was this. You remember the mystery book I told you about that I scoured the house for? It finally came, and it's it's book 19, I think it is, in the Tom Thorne novels, and it's called The Murder Book. Now, it only came out on the 19th of January, so I haven't read it yet. I've got nowhere near reading it yet, but I managed to pick that up off Amazon. And the third thing, I must love me detective stuff, I must do. There's a fantastic actor called Ken Stott, and he is absolutely brilliant. Now, this detective series which I bought didn't star him at first. It starred John Hannah playing the part of DCI Rebus, and Ken Stott only took the lead role a couple of series in, but it's the full box set of it, and it's the full box set of Rebus. And like I said, John Hannah was the first one who played him there, but the one I remember is him, Ken Stott. A very, very underrated, fantastic actor, and he's brilliant in everything he's been in. I'm trying to get the stuff what he's been in at the moment. I think he was in one called The Vice, which I've got in my wish list on Amazon. But I managed to buy that from off Amazon as well, out of vouchers. So that's what this month has been, really. It's been a sort of, I've got some Amazon vouchers, so I'm going to get some stuff that I want. I've also got a Lego trilogy build to show you as well, which I'll show you in a minute to finish with. That will be my last word really, Minions. But built a Lego trilogy of Gru, Stuart and Otto, and they're all Brickheadz figures. And I only found out about a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago, that they bought out the Roadrunner and the Wile E. Coyote, and that's in my wish list as well to buy. So yeah, coming up I'll just show you the quick pictures of the Lego builds, and then I'll let you disappear. And thank you again for watching. I hope you enjoyed the vlog. I hope it was entertaining for you, and I'll do another one soon. You all take care, and bye for now.